Kamala Harris is the first woman, the first Black person, and the first South Asian to become Vice President of the United States. This makes her very special because no one like her had done this before becoming Vice President. Kamala worked as California's Attorney General. She was the first woman and the first person of Black and South Asian heritage in that job. She worked hard to make laws fair, protect people's rights, and care for the environment. Kamala Harris was born on October 20th, 1964, in a big city called Oakland in the state of California. Her parents were immigrants, meaning they came from other countries to live in the United States. Her mother, Shyamala Gopalan, came from India, and her father, Donald Harris, came from Jamaica. Both of them were very smart and hardworking. Shyamala was a scientist who studied cancer, and Donald was a professor of economics, which means he taught people about money and how it works. Kamala also had a younger sister named Maya who would become one of her closest friends. Their parents made sure that Kamala and Maya learned the importance of education, kindness, and helping others. When Kamala was a little girl, her parents taught her about the world. They told her stories about India and Jamaica, the places where they grew up. Her mother often cooked Indian food, and Kamala loved the spicy flavors. Her father talked to her about the importance of fairness and justice. Kamala's parents divorced when she was 7 years old, which means they decided not to live together anymore. Kamala and Maya stayed with their mother most of the time. Kamala was very strong and independent. She raised her daughters to be the same way. Kamala grew up in a neighborhood that was full of diversity, meaning people from many different cultures lived there. She went to a school where children of all backgrounds studied together. Kamala learned that even though people might look different, everyone deserves to be treated equally. Kamala was a bright and curious student. She loved to ask questions and learn new things. Her mother encouraged her to dream big and told her she could be anything she wanted to be. Kamala's name, which means a lotus flower in Sanskrit, reminded her of her Indian roots. As a child, Kamala joined protests with her mother. These protests were for civil rights, which means fighting for fairness and equality for all people. Kamala saw how important it was to stand up for what's right, even when it's hard. When Kamala was a teenager, she and her family moved to Montreal, a city in Canada, because her mother got a job there. Kamala went to high school in Canada and continued to do well in her studies after finishing high school. Kamala went to a college called Howard University in Washington, D.C. Howard is one of the most famous historically Black colleges in the United States. Kamala loved her time there. She joined clubs, made friends, and worked hard in her classes at Howard. Kamala studied political science, which is about how governments work, and economics, which is about money and businesses. She was also part of the debate team, where she learned how to argue and present her ideas clearly. After graduating from Howard, Kamala went to law school at the University of California. Hastings Law School is where people study to become lawyers. Kamala wanted to help people and fight for justice, so becoming a lawyer was the perfect job for her. After law school, Kamala began working as a deputy district attorney in Alameda County, California. This means she was a lawyer who worked for the government to make sure people who broke the law faced justice. Kamala was very good at her job. She worked hard to protect victims and make communities safer. Kamala believed that the law should be fair for everyone. She worked on cases where people were treated unfairly just because of their race or background. She wanted to make sure everyone had a chance to live a good life. In 2003, Kamala ran for a big job district attorney of San Francisco. This is a person in charge of all the lawyers who work for the government in that city. Kamala won the election and became the first woman and the first Black and South Asian person to hold that position as district attorney. Kamala worked on many important issues. She helped create programs to stop young people from breaking the law. She believed that instead of punishing kids who made mistakes, it was better to guide them and help them make better choices. Kamala's success didn't stop there. In 2010, she ran for Attorney General of California, which is the top lawyer for the whole state. Kamala won again, becoming the first woman and the first person of color to hold this job. She worked on big cases and helped protect the environment, fight crime, and support families. In 2016, Kamala decided to run for the U.S. Senate, which is part of the government in Washington, D.C. Senators help make laws for the entire country. Kamala won the election and became the second Black woman in U.S. history to serve in the Senate as a senator. Kamala worked on many important issues like health care, education, and justice. She was known for asking tough questions during hearings, especially when she believed someone wasn't being honest. Kamala's speeches were powerful, and she inspired many people. In 2020, Joe Biden, who was running for president, asked Kamala to be his vice president. This was a very big deal because Kamala would be the first woman, the first Black person, and the first South Asian person to ever hold that position. If they won, Kamala and Joe Biden worked together to share their ideas with the country. They promised to help people by improving health care, fighting climate change, and making the economy stronger. Kamala traveled all over the country to meet people and talk about her plans. In November 2020, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won the election. Kamala made history by becoming the 49th Vice President of the United States. As Vice President, Kamala has worked on many important projects. She helps President Biden make decisions and represents the United States in meetings with leaders from other countries. Kamala also focuses on issues like helping small businesses, improving education, and making sure vaccines are available to everyone. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Kamala continues to inspire people around the world. She shows that with hard work, confidence, and kindness, anyone can achieve their dreams, no matter where they come from or what challenges they face. Kamala Harris's life is a story of breaking barriers and standing up for what's right. She went from being a little girl in Oakland to becoming the Vice President of the United States. Kamala's journey teaches us that we can achieve anything if we believe in ourselves and work hard. She is a role model for people everywhere, showing that kindness, courage, and determination can change the world. I hope you enjoyed the story. Like and subscribe for more stories.